So, this video won't be covering the build or how to play the new Nunu. It's more about showing you how not to play the new Nunu and what changes you can also make to your own gameplay if you see the same things happening. Then we will look at the improvements of being conscious of not making the same mistakes twice. This video will focus on the early game, and if there are enough views and likes on this type of video, I'll definitely make more, so please like and subscribe or comment just to show me that you enjoy this kind of content and want more. So something I took away from making this video was kind of a self-analysis process. First, I thought of what outcome I wanted in the early game, then I thought of how I could approach the early game to get that outcome. Through the games that I played, the outcome I wanted was to be ahead of the other jungler and make sure my laners had an advantage from my early game decisions. I tried a different way each time, and I watched my replays and I identified my certain mistakes. Then I thought of how I needed to change my approach to get closer to my outcome. And through that, I hope you guys could see the progression that I've made and you could adapt it to your own gameplay as well. Here we go. So in this first game, I realized that I was playing Nunu and I wanted to counter jungle a lot, and I wanted my early game to really set the other jungler behind. The plan: take my red, then take Jax's blue and Grom to deny him level 3. Sounded awesome. This was all contingent on having the right timing. Timing was so important to my early game success, but during my analysis process, I saw that there were so many things, so many mistakes that prevented this from happening. Well, first of all, I decided to take my red buff first and I didn't have a leash. This massively killed my timing, as you see. Also, I was kiting a lot, which I think on the new Nunu you don't have to really kite. You should actually just be standing there hitting it to get your passive up as fast as possible. So my window of opportunity was getting smaller and smaller. Now, Jax is a huge counter to Nunu when it comes to jungling, and Nunu definitely loses that fight. So I go over to the blue and Jax is there already, and I decide that I'm going to try to, come back to the blue and try to smite it away, but instead I decide to take Scuttle Crab for no real reason. But Jax gets blue in level 3, and for some reason I go back in there, I start to freak out, and then Annie collapses on me, and as you can see, the whole plan started to crumble and became a complete disaster, giving up first blood to the other team. The next game, I decided to get a leash from bot. Then I was gonna go steal the red, but I messed up the tracking, and for some reason I thought Sejuani would be up top doing her blue. So after I finished my blue, I run right over to Sejuani's red. When I get there, she's gone. She already cleared it. So I just felt like a dummy and I rushed right out of there without even taking a camp or leaving a word on my way out. This was a slight improvement from the last game since, I didn't give up first blood or anything, but no real advantage. And soon, because I didn't ward or take a camp when I invaded, it will actually lead to me not being ahead in the early game whatsoever. And then when I go to take my red, guess who is watching me fight it? Yep, Sejuani. She rushes in and there you go. I lose my red and now I'm at a disadvantage. So this definitely wasn't the start I wanted at all. But all in all, this was a much better start than my first round because no first blood and for the other team, but it wasn't the strong micro kind of game that I wanted in the early game. So I reanalyzed this video and I started to formulate a new plan. Alright, so what were the changes that I thought to do in the next game? Well, now I know that Nunu can't duel at all, so I must steal the blue or the buff before they have any chance to do anything, thanks to that Jax game in Sejuani. And that is why I have now started to just invade whatever buff is topside. So if I see the mid and top laner before the buff spawn, I know it's very safe for me to be in the topside jungle, because commonly top will leash if they're doing the buff up top, but if top is showing, that means the jungler is at bot, and this is confirmed by the bot laners arriving late to lane. So this way I know I could steal the buff and gromp for free, but I learned to ward the intersection and keep my eye on the laners, because while I'm in there, if the laners had a ward in there, they would just start collapsing on me, so I'd have to get out. But as I'm doing the buff, I see the laners are doing nothing but laning, so I know there's no ward in there and I'm completely safe. Now, after this, I went for a little gank, but then I rushed right away to secure my lead by making sure to get my red and my blue buff. I didn't want to let the same thing happen that happened in the Sejuani game. And I see Hecarim, he notices his blue buff is gone, and instantly I believe he's like gonna rush over to take my blue buff. So I finished my red really fast, and I run over there. Mess up on the blast plant, and there he is. He's starting my blue buff, but I'm already way ahead of him and force him out of the jungle because he has no mana, no blue buff. So currently Nunu has the highest win percentage on the Korean server, and I think that is because he doesn't burden his laners with leashes, and if done right, you always secure an early game lead over the other jungler. So this was the early game for the new Nunu. And once again, if you guys did like this video, please like and subscribe to let me know. And I would love to make more about the mid game or late game. And also do this same process with other champions that you're just interested in as well. So please leave that in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. See you later. Bye-bye.